You're welcome back. This is Newsfile. It is your most authoritative news analysis platform. And let's get to the next issue that we have to look at, and it has to do with matters that have come up, revelations that have been made, and you may have heard about Cambridge Analytica and the SCL group. It is not in doubt that the government was in the process and had procured a loan of $175 million for the purposes of building hospitals, a number of them in certain districts. However, there was supposed to be a component of that money that was supposed to go into research. Now, what has emerged is that $6 million of that money, $6 million, was used for a research, and the research included a finding out whether or not the NDC was in good shape to win power. It was supposed to be for hospitals, construction of hospitals in 7 districts, and with an integrated IT system. And the government went for a loan for $175 million to build these hospitals. So what do we make of these claims following the leaked files that the JoyNews Kwetenate has been referencing, making the story? Let's quickly listen to these interactions as regards this matter, and then we'll return to the studio to do the discussion.
Well, I will, you see, because of the what I just heard, that it was part of a project and is part of the financing, that will not come as a surprise to me. I mean, in doing studies, sometimes you look at other external factors that may impact the work that you do. And a government going into elections will probably say, look at some other issues that will impact our policies that we've implemented over the period. But I am not saying that as a fact. I'm just speculating that it is possible you can negotiate that, well, while you are there and you're doing the household survey, add 1 or 2 questions to elicit, respondents' views on what they think the government is doing right and what they think the government can do better. Yeah, and they will express their views independently of whether you're doing well or not, and it won't come as a surprise to me. Well, I wouldn't make a comment on that except to say that clearly that would be misappropriation of funds if that's the intention, but I doubt whether that was what was the case.
The party have 2 national structures that it works with: the Functional Executive Committee and the National Executive Committee. None of these structures received any report whatsoever or referenced the report here in your story from Rojo Metal. No. So it is very clear that no such presentation was done to either the Functional Executive Committee or the National Executive Committee. That is 1. 2, we also, as a party, did not commission a team, either that included Rojo Metal Nono or a foreign team, to do any research for us whatsoever. That also did not happen. Then, as a campaign that I coordinated for 2016, there was no such arrangement with any group whatsoever to do any research for us, foreign-based group. No. We did not do any such thing.
We did a lot in our own way. I have a group of people who are extremely committed, and we carried out research. We did a 32,000 household survey across all the 10 regions of this country, identifying attitudes, behaviors, perceptions, and desires of the people of Ghana. We put the report together, and either the report
didn't find its way to the presidency?
No, it did, but sometimes people want to hear what they want to hear. Okay. Yeah, if you think you're winning and somebody comes and says, wait a minute, you're losing.
You actually sometimes perhaps become a target yourself.
Or if you want people who will sing his master's voice, you will not be heard.
Is that what happened in this case?
I believe strongly that our message, our research data, was not accepted. It did not impact the strategy of the elections, and it was a disaster waiting to happen.
All right, so you had Dr. William Ahaji, who still is, I think, head of research for the NDC. And then you had Kofi Adams, who is the present national organizer of the NDC. And he was reacting to Rojo Metal-Nunu's claim. And Rojo Metal-Nunu, he was simply saying that the party did not commission Rojo to conduct research, and they did not receive same from him. Sounds contradictory as you follow the report. And Rojo Metal-Nunu, you heard him, he spoke last on the election research. And in his words, he says the team that they put together, or they did, these are his words, quotes, they did a 32,000 household survey across all the 10 regions of this country, identifying attitudes, behaviors, perceptions, and desires of the people of Ghana. And his explanation was that this was necessary to be done. Now, the investigative journalist, Kwete Nete, listened to this particular interview Rojo Metal-Nunu had with Gifty Ando-Appiah last year, January. And on the basis of that, decided to make some checks. And his checks led him to the Cambridge Analytica. And on their website, you'll find very interesting commentary about what was done as regards the research that they did. They said, quote, the work consists of two discrete political and public health elements. The political element is testing the attitudes and perceptions of the population towards contemporary issues faced in Ghana and public confidence in the capacity and competence of the current administration to implement appropriate, timely solutions, as well as the current level of satisfaction regarding the performance of the NDC at district, regional, and national level is also tested, and the research incorporates how this may translate into future election success. So it is in 2012 that the government set out to seek and procure the loan, and this is how things have panned out. Kuku, start with you. What do you know about this development, and what is the wrong that may have been done?
Well, I wouldn't claim to know much.
Okay.
What I know is based on the reports that your station, an investigative reporter, have put out there, and I've taken my time to study it carefully. In my mind's eye, I see my friend Rojo standing alone. He's been isolated. Everything that coming out, it appears he's standing alone. You see, if you listen to the interview, you said it was January 2017.
Yes.
And the rejoinder that he issued, which is October 2018, there's a little problem there. In his rejoinder, he tries to take out the political or the election-related research aspect in a very determined way, very conscious, deliberate, stubborn way. That's missing. I've read it. The last paragraph, if you don't mind, it says, therefore, the claim and or suggestion by Joy FM that operational health research in question was for political and electionary purposes, and that it was used to assess the chances of President Mahama in the 2016 elections is baseless and misleading. This is a categorical rejection of any idea that some of the research funding had been applied for election-related matters. But if you listen to the interview that he granted Gifty, a year or so ago,
Right.
he talks about the fact that this was even sent to the presidency. Of course, he didn't say president, it's a presidency. And the fact that it was election related. So even he himself, it's in a certain quicksand here. Then, of course, Kofi Adams is very categorical, distancing the functional election, is it the functional executive committee and the national executive committee, as well as the campaign team or campaign platform. Unfortunately for Kofi Adams, and perhaps slightly fortunately for Rojo, the director of research concedes that this matter, this research material, was presented to the party. At least that means the party headquarters. I'm sure that's where the research department is located. That's where Dr. Ahadz's office might have been. Somebody is not telling the truth. See, it's because the thing has been exposed. But unfortunately, if you are going to go and look at it from the legal point of view, then it's only Rojo who will stand accused. That's the unfortunate thing. His group, the entity, clearly has distanced themselves from him. I'm told, I heard it on your own news again, I don't know if it's true, that the special prosecutor has requested for information. They've left Rojo alone. He's going to face the music alone. But based on the documentation, the letter that you made available to us as research material, there's no doubt that some of the funding was applied for election-related matter. There's no doubt about that. What perhaps investigators and prosecutors will look for is evidence in terms of payment, the cash flow levels. Those are different matters. If you don't look for those things, if you don't assess those things, you might not be able to undertake a successful prosecution. That's, I'm sure the lawyers here will tell.
Is it that bad if all they did was to say there's an opportunity to get to, 32,000 households in Ghana to do a research on health? We want to take an advantage and ask a few more questions for the purposes of our elections.
Completely wrong. Elections in whose favor? In the ruling party's favor.
In any case, as they say, the research verdict was that it was bad for them.
Yes, but that is immaterial to the issue now. It ought not to have been applied for election-related matters. Simple.
Yes.
There's no basis for that. This is not just even, well, I'm talking from a position of, not somebody who is knowledgeable or educated on these matters. It's not just misapplication. I smell misappropriation too.
Yeah.
Okay? Because there was no basis for that. And it looks as if when you see some of the documentation, yes, it's implied there that the group that was given the job was also told to do election-related matters, which is political, partisan. It isn't as if you were doing a general survey which could have been used by the EC, but even that would have been misapplication because it's not within that remit. Look, this is not a good case. I feel sorry for Rojo because he's clearly been abandoned by the party and party officers. They've left him to the wolves. And if this matter is, investigation is triggered to possible prosecution, he's going to stand alone in the dock.
I see. The special prosecutor definitely is exercising his powers under his law.
See how politics
to invite for information on these matters. But those who did the work do not make any, qualms about what it is that they did. They said what they did was the work consists of two discrete political and public health elements.
Yes.
The political element is testing the attitudes and perceptions of the population towards contemporary issues faced in Ghana and public confidence in the capacity and competence of the current administration to implement appropriate timely solutions.
And continue. Say the current level of satisfaction regarding the performance of the National Democratic Congress at the district,
regional, and national level
is also tested. And
research incorporates how this may translate into future electoral success.
Why for only one party?
Yes, Doc.
It's interesting because what I know about public finance and this agreement is that you go in for a loan for a specific purpose, and agreements are signed to that.
This is for 7 district hospitals.
7 district hospitals. Now you are to use the funds to build hospitals. If for some reasons you want to vary the utilization of the funds, you have to go back to the primary agreement.
They built a lot of hospitals. They may have used it to build more than 7.
Where
yes,
the hospitals built?
I don't know.
Yeah, so let's look at 1, fund utilization, and 2, what I also know about utilizing these funds is also that there are continuous monitoring and evaluation and then benchmark performance processes in the system. If the project has ended, what were the post-audit issues? Have we audited or reviewed the projects?
Good.
How have we utilized the funds? I hear it was procured in 2012, but the election research was conducted towards the 2016 elections. We are in 2018. What have we done about it? I'm sure we should have closed this chapter long ago. We've had the post-audit, and then the post-audit would have revealed some of these things.
This may engage the attention of the special prosecutor?
Well, it may. In my view, it should. It's of national concern, because if you contract a loan of 175 million intended to ensure that we improve the health facilities in district hospitals, to improve the health life of people of Ghana, and 6 million is indeed diverted into political research, it's a no-no. But we need to investigate it. If it's found out that funds have been diverted...
It's not 6 million diverted into political research. It's a research that appears to be two-pronged. A research for the real purpose and ancillary questions, if you like.
You know, in research, you can have the main objective of the research and the subsidiary objective.
Okay.
Now, ultimately, your research report is expected to highlight on the main objective.
Right.
The subsidiary objective may come in. But the question I'm asking myself is, did they produce 2 independent reports or 2 separate reports for the 2 objectives, or they produced a single report for the primary objective? And was the report used for the intended primary objective, or it was used for the subsidiary objective?
In other words, what was presented to Dr. Hazi?
That's right. You know,
was it the entire report? It was actually the political election-related one.
Good. You know, so if they presented the political election-related report, then it means it was a political election-related report and not a health research report. You know, so we need to interrogate all these matters. But my position is that public funds are to be used for the intended purpose, more so if it is a loan. If it is not used for the intended purpose, it amounts to misapplication, misuse of funds. We should delve into it. Anyone found culpable must be dealt with according to law.
But what are the consequences for misapplication and misuse of funds?
Oh, definitely there are criminal consequences and then criminal implications. And aside from that, it impacts negatively on the image of the country once we are going in for such additional loans. And it can also have effect on the outcome of the project, because maybe all the 175 was expected to go into physical projects and other things that would place the project in a form that people can patronize. Once you take off the 6 million, it affects the project. So there are a lot of consequences. But I think that in order to rationalize and inject discipline in the system to avoid waste and misuse of funds borrowed in the name of the Republic, we should delve more into it and deal, according to law, with people who have misused and misapplied the funds.
Okay. So he's simply repeating stuff that he has in his book, Fiscal Decentralization and Financial Management Practices of Subnational Governments, Evidence from Ghana. This is Dr. Odrosai's book, launched very recently, and this is my autographed copy.
I don't have it.
Right. It's good reading. It's good reading. You should read it. You get to know, the decentralization process and how we have taken our eyes off, and a lot is going on wrong in those areas as far as the monies that have to be used for the benefit of the people is. Now, so I don't know. I've seen you written some notes, Honorable.
Yeah,
I've seen you written some notes.
I've gotten some small points.
Yes, yes.
Research findings.
How does this revelation come to you?
I don't think it's a revelation. Okay. I believe that every project, and it happened when I was DC, has a hard and soft.
Every project has what?
The project we execute, most have soft and hard. The concrete and the people living within. That is, for example, when African Development Bank decided to construct Damango project, Fufriso Damango, African Development Bank insisted they wanted to know, one, the socio-economic impact.
Of what project?
Of that road project.
Road.
Yes.
Okay.
How will the people appreciate it? What is their mode in the construction of the road? African Development Bank requested it. Two, in case the road is constructed, many people will apply it. We are in AIDS, HIV, AIDS.
Is that not what feasibility is to do?
No,
okay.
Not before the project.
Okay.
And they engage a competent contractor who did it. Maybe I might not want to mention, because she occupied a very, they did it, submitted the report to African Development. That's the soft part.
They didn't ask how it will impact on the election performance of
African Development Bank took it, submitted it as part of a comprehensive report to the head office.
What's
that
the
I
point?
followed.
Yeah,
they asked my input, not in relation to the soft, to the whole, which form part of it. So that tells you that being a project of $175 million does not mean that there won't be a soft component. But it seems we are straight into as if it is for hard, and therefore construction of health facilities.
But the soft is not political research.
Thank you.
I'm coming.
Okay.
There are questions that will come. And this is supposed to undertake 7 projects, as we are aware. One is Dodowa, that has been completed. We have Fomina. We have Garu Tampani. Project
that is
Kumawu,
the most serious one. Not
Abetifi,
one block has been laid.
and West. Yes, since you came to office, you've halted it.
You take your turn.
Since you came to office, you've halted the
From
continuation.
2012.
Yes. No, it was ongoing.
2012.
A contractor completed at least. We have Dodowa completed. It's not that the money.
Yeah, Dodowa, a very nice place.
Yeah.
And everybody will appreciate
the
it.
hospital.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Western Regional Hospital was supposed to get staff accommodation. And since 2017, this has been halted, and that they need to do investigation. The research work, I don't know why the Minister of Health has not come out with a clear statement on that. Because the behavioral research that has been done, 2 volumes were presented to Minister of Health, and it's in their custody. They should be able to at least...
But is that the focus?
No. You see, when a research is done, all what we are doing are speculations.
Okay.
That research report that is with Ministry of Health, which they have in their possession, they should have been able to make a categorical
But please, we are not speculating. We are not speculating about. We are not speculating about the what those who did the research say. It is too discrete.
Yes.
Research.
Speculating on that.
That's not what we
It should be obtained in the report submitted, because Ministry of Health engaged them.
Ministry of Health asked them to do the political questions and to ask whether or not
it is political or not, that document, because there's always an agreement.
What was presented to Dr. Hazi?
He didn't say they have presented a document. He never admitted that we received this and we worked on it. I also listened.
What did he say? Samson, what did he say?
No, you can listen. We can play it again.
Who never said?
As far as we are concerned.
You said who never said?
Dr. Hazi?
That they had received a report and that they had used this
pause.
money.
You just pause there.
Yes.
Please, let's listen to Dr. William Ahaji again.
Well, I will, you see, because of the what I just heard, that it was part of a project and is part of the financing, that will not come as a surprise to me. I mean, in doing studies, sometimes you look at other external factors that may impact the work that you do. And a government going into elections will probably say, look at some other issues that will impact our policies that we've implemented over the period. But I am not saying that as a fact. I'm just speculating that it is possible you can negotiate that, well, while you're there and you're doing the household survey, add 1 or 2 questions to elicit, respondents' views on what they think the government is doing right and what they think the government can do better.
Yeah,
and they will express their views independently of whether you're doing well or not. And it won't come as a surprise to me. Well, I wouldn't make a comment on that except to say that clearly that would be misappropriation of funds if that's the intention. But I doubt whether that was what was the case.
Probably. I'm not speaking as if, speaking to it as a fact. I think we have to be clear.
No,
he never said he had received copies.
This is a truncated report.
Yes.
Huh? The earlier one you
So,
he said he received the report. The report was brought to them.
I didn't listen to that one.
But did you listen to what you listen to his conclusion? What you just listened to? Did you hear his conclusion?
He said, if that is the case, not that I had received it. If that is the case, that could be misappropriation.
Okay, so
that didn't show that he had. He didn't say he had received. If that is the case.
Okay. So
it is the case.
So let's say this.
What did Dr. Aziz say?
Let's say this. Maybe whilst we are talking, they will get that and play that portion too for you. But the thing is that is not a matter in doubt. That the research was done, and that he confirms that same was submitted to the party, it's not in controversy, and that Roger Metelnunu also says that he presented to the Flagstaff House is not in controversy. But you can go on.
What I'm just indicating, what I have heard.
That's okay. That's okay.
Because I didn't listen to the whole tape.
Yeah, you were giving a lot of research material, including people's statements. I'm sure you must have read it.
I told you that I got this call list last
all right, please go on.
But the report, if any, is with the Minister of Health. And therefore, I thought, even before certain comes out, an audit work should have been carried out.
No, this is a journalist doing his work.
Yes, but we cannot conclude based on what he has said.
Of course.
And conclude that somebody has misapplied funds. So as far as I'm concerned, this is not substantiated, and the audit work should go as quick as possible.
I hear you.
So that the projects can continue. Because this, for Mina, Garut, Timpani, they're waiting for the projects to continue so that they can benefit their healthcare. But in terms of project, it happens that there's a soft and hard aspect of it. So in this case, the concrete work is the hard.
So which is the political?
Let's say, for example, where would you the construction of the hospital is the hard aspect, the tangible aspect. The intangible aspect, which is the soft, is the research work that is carried.
Where would you put the election-related research?
There is no election-related research to it.
This is documented.
It is about behavioral. Why document?
You're saying that those who did the research don't know what they did.
This is documented.
Should I read it back to you?
No,
you're saying they don't know what they did.
Let's be very clear. That is why I said clearly.
Okay, let me read
that
it again.
The Ministry of Health should respond. That we got this report.
What did Rojo send to the presidency that they refused to hear or read, which led to what he claims to be? Yeah, what was it? What was it?
I'm not aware Rojo sent any document to the presidency.
Okay, see.
Because the Minister of Health should have come out.
Exactly.
The Minister of Health should have come out. We received this report, and this is what it has said.
I'm just reading this again to you. That this is, and I'm quoting, these are not our words, that this is what was done. The work consists of two discrete political and public health elements. The political element, which is what has, engaged our attention here, is testing the attitudes and perceptions of the population towards contemporary issues faced in Ghana and public confidence in the capacity and competence of the current administration to implement appropriate timely solutions, as well as the current level of satisfaction regarding the performance of the NDC at district, regional, and national level. It's also tested, and the research incorporates how this may translate into future electoral success.
So this is a research.
That's soft.
There is a report in respect to the research. Where is that report? Is it to the Minister of Health? Because Minister of Health asked them to conduct.
Okay, so what Rojo says he took to the Flagstaff House, what will it be?
He should make a copy available to us.
Okay.
Yes. Because because it's not just by saying it. Oh, when I send a copy, this is the copy of what I sent to the president. Then we have the opportunity to read it and see whether it's political or not. He was the minister.
Okay.
And as a minister,
I'm not sure at that time he was he?
No, he was the administrator of the Mahama campaign team.
Who is that?
Rujo.
Yes, but he was deputy. He was deputy health minister. Yes, he was deputy health minister.
Yeah, deputy. So he should have a documentation. If I were him, and I want the public to believe that what I said or what I'm saying is true, I say, oh, this is the document. As we speak, we don't have the document.
Dr. Haji may have a copy.
He said probably. Anyway, I've not read the whole audio, but I believe that this is something the audit has been sanctioned to do. We should let them come on with the evidence.
Okay.
Samson.
All right.
Interesting.
Yes, Kwanka.
Thank you very much. You see, when I started playing the tapes, I was thinking that it was a trial in court, and that Kofi Adams was PW1 and PW2 Ahazi. I mean, that's what I saw. It wasn't like a trial. So you call this person. It is said that this person on the set they did A, B, C, D. Then Kofi Adams said, look, we are not aware of it. We are not part of it. Then this man also can say we are not aware and leaving the man alone. Again, my brother has also disowned him. He's standing in the middle of the sea now. And that's a serious one. It's clear that, for me, unless we are acting and pretending, it could not have been possible for him to do it alone without anybody's knowledge and notice. It's not possible in government. It is not.
I agree.
I'm a deputy minister of state. It is not that as a deputy minister, I engage in an initiative on behalf of government to commit it to the tune of 6 million for research-related matter without any person's knowledge in the party or in government. It's not possible. So it looks like people are just beginning to act because of the shameful nature of the revelation. That's a fact. And the earlier we looked at it, the better. But there's another issue related to that I want to talk about. You see, misappropriation, as Doctor has said, clearly, Samson.
You see, but unlike some of the things we do in this side of our world, the Cambridge Analytica, the group, the SCL Social, what I'm reading, they have put it on their website. So it's there for everybody to read. Yes. When you go there, they give you a narration of what they have done in Rwanda, in South Sudan, in Somalia, and what they have done on Ghana. And on Ghana specific, these are the things they talk about. So yes, please, let's go on.
Yeah, so what I'm actually talking about is that after the revelation, if you follow events about the commentary that is being run, the man has been left alone, as Uncle Kweku put it. But even it is becoming worse by the day because of the denials that are coming up. You see, but when investigations are conducted, the truth will be unraveled, and all of us will know the extent.
You were about explaining the factors of misappropriation or whatever.
Yes, I was about, and I'm getting there again. And I wanted to link it up to the fact that you had indicated that a certain report has been made to the Office of the Special Prosecutor and all that. If you look at the Special Prosecutors, it's very clear. There is not only corruption, but corruption-related offenses, corruption and corruption-related offenses and all that. So if you look at 6 million and what that can do for other sectors and all that and how it was actually applied from the statement that we are actually analyzing coming from the Honorable Metal Nunu and all that, I think that there are a lot of questions to be answered. But these can only be answered if the investigators begin their work and then unravel how it actually happened, whether he acted single-handedly or there were actually others who he acted with. But clearly, my brother tried to justify at the beginning when he talked about soft and hard. You know, it may be true that in projects like that, there are components of it that could go into research and etc. But Uncle Kweku asked a very straight question, whether in such things you can go for a loan and indicate that part of the loan will be used to conduct research, whether or not the ruling government will maintain power or lose power. I mean, quite clearly, that's a clear case of misappropriation. That should not be tolerated. But there was another thing that I wanted my brother to note. I wish he did not comment on that at all. The Garutimpani District Hospital he indicated. Go and read the State of the Nation's address for 2013, 2014, 2015, and 2016, particularly 14, 15, and 16, State of the Nation's address by the President. He categorically stated that the Garu Timpani Hospital was at certain stages of completion. In 3 years, not one block has been laid there. Send your journalists down to go and check.
But what has been done that he was referring to?
Nothing, absolutely. You see, what happened was that land had been acquired by the district assembly. And so when they came and said they wanted a plot of land to put up a hospital, that was presented and clearing was done. That's all. They came with bulldozers and cleared the land. And for 3 consecutive years, it was reported in the State of the Nation's address that the hospital was at various stages of completion. Some said, I'm telling you, not one block, one, was laid there. In 3 years that it was captured in State of the Nation's address. But suddenly my brother is saying that we have come and we have abandoned it. Nothing was done by you. Where that money is, we are going to look for it anyway. We will look for it. That $170-something million, part of which was meant for Garu Timpani, we're going to look for it. The process will be triggered. We'll look for it where it was put, whether it was diverted to another place, because of course part of it was used for election-related activities, as we know now. Okay. My district, which was deserving of this, I hope my people are listening.
You are MP for 2 years in office. Yes. You should be talking of what you have done.
Of course, I agree.
You shouldn't be saying we'll follow. You are in government, you're a minister.
I agree. I agree with you.
So you're not doing your way. That's why he's looking for the money. That money. No, he's still looking for it at this stage.
Hold on.
Okay.
I am not debating you as to whatever happens there.
That you are in government.
And I want you to note that.
You should be telling us progress report on it.
See, no, that's not the occasion for.
Whenever
he want to blame
there's one thing I like doing.
Because I don't want
when you are commenting, I just keep quiet and wait for you to finish.
At least you have given us a list of where these hospitals were supposed to be done, and you have shown that they have been done. You have shown to Dodowa where some of us have seen that the work has been done.
Yeah, and it's a fact. But Garu Timpani, not one block has been laid, and I'm telling you that it is in the State of the Nation's address 3 consecutive years. So either somebody didn't tell His Excellency the President at that time the truth or something. Because what he said, I'm afraid, but I wanted to use a certain word, but I'm afraid I don't want to use that because it's not been part of me. It's not been part of me. I wanted to use a certain expression, but I'm restraining myself from using it. So the nation was told that. But now we are going to...
On the basis of these allegations or revelations, what should happen?
Of course, it will trigger investigations. I mean, when something like this is mentioned, state actors will not go to sleep at all. It will trigger investigations. Statements will be taken from the appropriate persons, including but not limited to some of those who have spoken. And then they will affirm what they have actually said. So that we go into it. If there's a component of the loan agreement that stated that part of it could be used into conducting research as to whether or not NDC was going to win power, I mean, everybody is vindicated. And then we move on. If there's nothing like that, a clear case of misappropriation, and the appropriate penal consequences will be exacted. I just hope that when we get to that...
I'll be surprised if it turns out that there was nothing like that. It's in black and white.
I agree with you. But I'm saying that. I agree with you.
But we shouldn't pretend. It goes
beyond that.
So you see, something.
It goes beyond
I think that what we should do is to first concede that certain things went wrong. Before we even go into the details, we should concede that certain things went wrong.
Okay.
Look, that as we sit today, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's government goes to contract a loan for the construction of a school. And then part of it is used to conduct research to find out whether he will win power in 2020. And we sit here to defend that. We can't. It's incredible.
Okay.
I think that we have to get serious and see what we can do.
But like Kuku said, it's only fair that I bring to your attention a bit more of what Roger Metolunu said in his recent, sort of rejoinder that he gave on this, which Kuku clearly indicates, if you put that against his interview of January 2017, there seemed to be a gap that he may have to explain. So he wrote and said that my attention has been drawn to a broadcast by Joy FM in Accra on the subject matter. I wish to state for the avoidance of doubt that the suggestion in the Joy FM broadcast that funds diverted from a government loan facility on research into the chances of the governing NDC is completely untrue. So this is Rojo. He said sometime in 2010, a decision was made to develop 7 new district model hospitals at various locations in Ghana to improve access to quality and specialized healthcare. The scope of the project included scientific operational health research to inform the choice of location, hospital design, and the needed specialized care each facility would provide. Apart from the overall execution of the contract, the main contractor, NMS, had responsibility for selecting a firm to conduct the operational health research. The selection and justification of the locations of these hospitals required that they were based on scientific medical data, access and prevalence of certain diseases. The proper procedures were followed through Cabinet and Parliament for the approval of the 7 district hospitals project to be undertaken by NMS. The aim of the project was to achieve access for all Ghanaians to healthcare at district levels. To succeed in this broader goal, it was vital to carry out a detailed survey. This had to cover a wide range of searching questions, not just a review of ailment, population, and geography. It had to obtain a detailed understanding of factors affecting people's access and attitudes to modern medicine. The survey was therefore a comprehensive assessment covering sociology, demography, geography, culture, employment, health, wealth, belief systems, traditional influences, confidence in authority, electricity supply and media, attitudes to previous outreach programs, and aid, and much more. And he says this was one of the largest medical surveys carried out ever in Africa. Then he mentions that 30,000 households were involved, and so on and so forth, and comes to repeat the categorical denial that therefore the claim and a suggestion by Joy FM that the operational health research in question was for political electioneering. Of course, Joy didn't say it was for political electioneering. It is saying that you appear to have done 2 things, like they say, you use 1 stone to kill 2 birds, purposes, and that it was used to assess the chances of President Mahama in the 2016 election is baseless and misleading. I wonder what your reply then will be to what you can find on the website of Cambridge Analytica. We'll be right back. Welcome back to your most authoritative news analysis platform, Newsfile. My guest, Kweku Bako, Dr. Drosai, Adamuta Wakilo, and Penka Dindiok. And, okay, so an aide to the president, former president, John Mahama, wants me to be very clear about the point that John Mahama clearly had any connection to these things. I mean, check when it says 2010, it says if you listen to Roger Metonunu clearly, it says 2010 a decision is made for 7 hospitals, and then the funds are raised by 2012, and then the contract is awarded. And so at least we can trust that he had, those who are trying to draw President Mahama in will not be successful. And
but I'm sure
unfair.
It is not in relation to anything that has been said here.
Okay, right. But maybe an impression is given.
The document talks about 2016 elections.
Right, 2016
in terms of
elections.
application.
Yes.
Okay, in terms
No,
of
but
application.
even when you look at the period,
Yeah.
on July 18th, 2012, the Cabinet approved the agreement.
Okay.
Cabinet approved the agreement in July 18, 2012.
Okay.
And then they went into implementation and all of that.
All right.
So
okay, so
the dates are clear.
yeah, thank you for that. And we understand that the special prosecutor, is activating its, as it were, machinery in this respect. The information we are gathering is that, in fact, you may find out from the health ministry that there is a report, a 2-volume report of 900 pages for the research, for the purposes that was intended. But the amount spent on that will not be 6 million, but between 1.5 and 2 million. So question will be some 4 million may be unaccounted for. If the sources, so far the revelation is that it is 6 million that went into the research, and the Health Ministry has a document which vindicates that there's some research done, a 900-page, 2-volume research, but the amount involved is between $1.5 to $2 million. Then there's a difference of $4 million that has to be accounted for. Where is that? So some people may have to answer some questions, and that may be the reason it's good that the special prosecutor wants to get into this.